Trump Justice Department has demoted some of the most senior federal prosecutors who brought criminal charges against Trump allies and handled some of the most significant cases stemming from the Capitol insurrection. The demoted prosecutors include a group that sent to prison leaders of the far-right Proud Boys and Oath Keepers for spearheading the January 6th attack. Interim U.S. Attorney Ed Martin is transferring these veteran prosecutors to pursue misdemeanor offenses in D.C. Superior Court. Earlier in the week, Ed Martin described himself as Trump's lawyer. Reminder, the Justice Department is not the personal law firm of the president. Joining us now, former federal prosecutor and former Justice Department lawyer, Brendan Ballou. Welcome, Counselor.
Mr. Ballou, thank you for being here. I have talked to a number of people who have either been fired outright or who are currently placed on administrative leave. And one person I spoke with is the general counsel at an agency. They don't want to say which one because they'll be found out quite easily, who is career, non-political, administrative leave with the promise of being fired. And I said, what do you want people to know? What should people know? And they said that we are living through a coup. That, to me, is very chilling. Is that the feeling inside the Justice Department?
I mean, whether or not you would describe it as a coup, this is a fundamental change in what the Department of Justice is supposed to be. You know, after Watergate, the Department of Justice really reformed itself to become a much more nonpartisan institution to try to build up its own credibility. And I think we've seen in literally a matter of weeks that credibility get demolished. And I'll just say, the Department of Justice isn't like NASA that has rockets. It's not like the Army, that has soldiers. The only thing it has is its credibility. So once that's lost, it's going to be very hard to get back.
It's very clear who loses in all of this, and I want us to focus on who the winner is. You had a line from your testimony before the House Judiciary Subcommittee where you said the only people who benefit from these actions will be billionaire criminals, and for them, this will be a golden age. How quickly can that golden age come to be for those folks?
It seems like a matter of weeks. You look at what this department has been doing, things that maybe this administration doesn't want people to focus on, like ending investigations under the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, which prohibits foreign bribery, ending investigations under the Foreign Agents Registration Act, which prohibits acting as an unregistered agent of a foreign power, shifting prosecutors from the Antitrust Division, which investigates price fixing and other crimes, to defend this administration's allegedly illegal proposals. So what we're seeing is a dismantling of much of the infrastructure that's used to go after rich criminals.
We were talking a little bit ago, Brendan, about the judicial part of this and how our courts are, a lot of folks are coming to think that this is the last beachhead. This is where it all comes, and this is going to be the bulwark. And as a prosecutor, having stand before judges and make that case, firsthand how important they are and how dispassionate they are. I mean, they're looking at the facts, they're looking at the law, and they're listening to the arguments and making judgments based on that. But that's not enough with the Elon Musk and Mike Lees of the world, who put out a tweet in which Musk says the only way to restore rule of the people in America is to impeach judges. No one is above the law, including judges. That is what it took to fix El Salvador. Same applies to America. And then this little ditty from Mike Lee: corrupt judges should be impeached and removed. Pass it on if you agree. Like, you're passing the hat on something. It should be noted that he filed articles of impeachment on Thursday against a U.S. district judge, a court judge, who ruled that the Trump administration could not suspend or cancel U.S. foreign aid. Yeah. That judge got materials in front of him that told him what he needed to do. And so you have Representative Andy Ogles filing articles of impeachment against him for making an impartial decision based on the facts and the law. Talk about the chilling effect that this has both on prosecutors and judges who still are trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, so two things. One is, you talked about the Ogles articles of impeachment. That is about Judge John Bates in the District of Columbia, who was appointed by George W. Bush, is an extremely experienced judge, a well-respected one. And the case that Representative Ogles was trying to impeach this guy for was one where Judge Bates said that it was improper for the government to take down public health information on HIV, sexually transmitted infections, contraception, in vitro fertilization. He was, by all appearances, following the facts and the law here. But this goes to the second point, which is I think what these folks are trying to do is prime their audience for this administration to ignore judicial orders. That's what they are trying to prepare people for.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Right
I mean, you have the FBI. I mean, the number 2 at the FBI is now a podcaster, and I ain't got nothing against podcasters, but Lord Jesus.
Shouldn't be the number 2 at the FBI.
I don't think so, and apparently neither do some FBI agents. NBC reporting says FBI agents expressed shock and dismay over the naming of right-wing podcaster number 2 post. On his podcast, former Secret Service agent Dan Bongino, who once called the FBI irredeemably corrupt, thanked the president for the appointment and suggested that he's prepared to step out of his role as a MAGA warrior. But even as he did so, he repeated the baseless charge that the Justice Department had been weaponized, a claim he has frequently brandished to criticize the agency he now will help lead.
Yeah. I mean, for one thing, the number 2 head position in the FBI historically, I think, always has been a career FBI agent. So this is a change from precedent. And I'll just say, this seems counterproductive to this administration's stated objectives. If you are serious about going after transnational crime or drug cartels or foreign influence, you would appoint an experienced agent or prosecutor. The fact that they have appointed a podcaster suggests that they are not particularly serious about these problems, that perhaps they don't even really care about whether these problems get solved.
Let's talk a little bit about the Capitol rioters and the work you did on the case and the fact that they are now out here, back on the streets. What does that mean for America's national security? What does it mean for Republicans in Congress who talk about how scared they are to stand up and do the right thing because they know that a right-wing mob has been unleashed?
Yeah, I think this was certainly the effect, probably the intention of these pardons, in that historically in America, we haven't had to deal with state-aligned militias since the Ku Klux Klan. That is now changing. We have approximately 1,600 people who have been pardoned for potentially violent actions at the Capitol in the name of this president, and they have now been placed functionally above the law. So, political violence is something that we haven't really had to experience in America for a generation or two. That's coming to an end.
Mr. Ballou, y'all wouldn't believe it. This is one of his first television appearances. Thank you so much for your insight. We hope you will come back, Brendan Ballou. Appreciate your time.